Yo, Chief for Positive Africa, and then the topic, I know they lost talents, studying abroad, um, escape or investment, and then able discuss senior any obeying that and obeying Hojuma. The office can come so start with on my history city the Monday program no and sana. The Aisha so sequence start my
Alright, for web, yeah, me that's near Queen, ya share TF maybe be a share free beer. History, yeah, the befa math kakra. Math for Africans for by how Africans heavily influenced mathematics. Menya ka mekani nyina o twi but me bro for no twi befra. There was math expressions bi o ha bi amintimi kan twi. In the ancient Africa, and I say ancient
Egypt. Nefa to home
Mebaso enche Mebaso. Yeah, in the ancient Africa, and I say specifically Kemet, which is present day Egypt. We know that they were able to build the pyramids. Aliens they see, which is not true. We have the obelisk, Oko DC, Oko Roma, all these major European cultures, no more monuments there ACO. They all learn these things from Kemet, which is present day Egypt. Your file be or my friend papyrus. Papyrus near more of like I said test be a yatro near me where I said those titi scroll nibino. Yeah. So we have one which is called the Rind mathematical papyrus. Let me say maybe a could be far near Imhotep this one is specifically for nipa bia or no sotenasia or the mathematical functions be a go. We have about 84 of these mathematical functions or mathematical problems. But yeah, Africa for the transcribe scribe near friend Ames. He did this in the time of the rulership of one of the Egyptian pharaohs, and near friend Nidin, maybe I might not pronounce it or by a friend. Amen name hat. Yeah, I may be pronouncing it wrong, but in the year around 1860 BC, before Common Era. Then that influenced the construction of pyramid of Giza. So fast forward, there was a Scottish guy be or no Agada Antiques. So that guy's name was Alexander Henry Rind, RHIND. And Otosa book and later it ended up in the British Museum. But in that book we have a lot of mathematical functions. What makes it unique is the fact that those days in the 1600s, the Egyptians had a unique way of understanding fractions. Fractions now, you say be an improper fraction, mixed fraction is saying they knew it at that time. What is very peculiar about it them understanding how to calculate the area of a circle. Until then, I'm person until for but you meet me there to swam and come any budget. Yeah, the area of a circle, no. Yep. So for the area of a circle, no, yeah. It Yankopon ya admit me course when I say papa name meeting the course pi r square, right? Which mathematical and theoretical, we can also say that it is pi d square over 4, where the d is the diameter. Now, Egypt for through their empirical understanding of structures and through their intellectual ability, they came down. They didn't have a constant. 3.14 169, which is 22 over 7 as pi constant by Archimedes. And then they sat down and thought, say, okay, anytime that we take a circular object, whether it is any object be a circular base piano, let's take 8 over 9 of the diameter and then let's square the results. It will give us the area of the circular base or the area of the circle itself. And it will share may in a mature area is equal to 8/9 times d square. Into no, you are squaring the result, so you get 64, which is a square, and then 9/9, which is 9 square, near 81. And of course, we are representing the diameter by d. Then d square. Now, present day, send them d can in so calculate area of a circle, pi r square, which mathematically, so pi d square over 4. Pi times the diameter to the power 2 divided by 4. It will be equivalent to pi r square. No? Now, we want to determine the constant pi, the value of the constant pi in about maybe 4 decimal places. Until Oshe Egypt 4 DNA, who say baby 64/81 times d square. We can equate it to modern day formula, no? And as a modern day understanding, which is pi d square over 4. You know how to work out this because we are trying to make pi the constant. So therefore, we will multiply both sides by 4. To multiply both sides by 4, baby 256 d square divided by 81. Now 4 now what pi in India, I cancel out no in your pi d square. So again, we are trying to make pi the subject. A person non quite 10 home. And you say you will get 256 d square over 81 divided by d square because a percent pi no 10 it means we need to divide both sides by the d square. Mathematically, if you are dividing this way, you have to reciprocate the divisor, which is d square. No, to reciprocating over 1 over d square, and it will share about say d square will cancel out d square. Near about 256/81, and therefore pi will give us 3.1605, which is the Egyptian pi assumption. Or more man can say pi 3.1605, but from that range mathematical papyrus it contains so many mathematical functions, geometry room, algebra room, a whole lot of things that were inside. Ubabinya this constant of 3.1605. So I call it the Egyptian pi assumption. Current day ni akimi this year no so man range, but United is 3.1416 or 3.142. Into share difference now, the difference is just about 0.6% error. Which means it was precise. It was very, very precise, and they were able to use it to do a whole lot of engineering constructions. Satan calculator be anyhow. Satan unique complex math book textbook be out, but from their intuition, they were able to come out with this, and they were able to use it to produce a lot of architectural designs and a lot of complex engineering structures. Nipa be because some person will do and to form no. Catch and say aliens nebe, but these were not made by aliens. These were made by Egyptians who were very, very, very technical, who were very, very mathematically inclined. So to cut it short, what Archimedes even brought and what the Greeks know, what we even know as the Western modern mathematics, it was highly influenced by these concepts. It is free. There is a PDF version of it. It will walk you through the 84 problems now. Egypt for the gathered together, and then it taught them math. They didn't have to use any calculator. They didn't have to use any textbook, but through their empirical methods and then how they able to understand the world. Last week we talked about the people in Yoruba dealing in base 20, which is the Vegisma. The normal numeration system a base 10, and until now 1 plus 1 a 2. But in base 20, 1 plus 1 will not be 2. But the Yoruba people, West African people, they were dealing in base 20. Obian for man continuous but they had that understanding. They understood logarithms and all those things. They may not have textbooks at that time because our culture is very oral, not literal. And until me say nasa ma oba enso enka okrum kasa nyansan ni ndie bebre ewumu a wanhwe a oba no be de ebehwe, so they can become a professor, an engineer or whatever, but because they lack the foundational identity, which is their language, they will not really make any impact in the world. So we African here, be proud and understand that your ancestors did a whole lot of things and they influence modern day understanding of mathematics and modern day of even science and engineering that we are practicing right now.
Wow, Kwesi. There be I'll be a new math. Hey, I go for the Buafasu Bukata. Yamani, no, you. Asamu Bukata. Oma chia for much. Anyway, say we share the ever come was the Kwesi my yeah. They say it's not far from the truth. You know, I Jija Nyama Musano. And that's the kind of topic near the lost talents, studying abroad, escape or investment. Yeah, Sani mo win na so see esuomo na ye ti nyina yedwane akọ. It's obe me chow.
Ofa me jozo.
Yo. Topic really deep. I'm say people couldn't wait say bebas na ya hwede ye say be say justice to this topic. It you know. You can say lost talent. Instantly through na send ye pese kire.
Well, but you can go ya da say we professor na also who say dey. The group they say your professor for much mathematics no man to be avanko ho. E wo dey jira Archimedes wa no majai. Pythagoras wa no majai. As if said out of nowhere and omutiminya that level of intelligence. Their work it goes to prove that the Greeks themselves they acknowledge so we call Africans and the physical monuments they prove the pyramids you could not just do it anyhow. They had to be complex mathematical foundation. So and that was it. Now sabi what school could do said they bro for no matter don't know you know. You bit my bomb so there, but much of it is re-engineering and yet discoveries have and yet something and you novel. I had there never hold no more people who no more breaking it down or more gigabitre. Now there you said because of high level of racism over the last maybe 300 years, very deep. So no more we were more before that no more Africans, you know it. Yeah, ban and Siano no more catcher say Yanya. But women is a large part of miseducation. Racism itself is a recent phenomenon. And yet 1,000 years old. And yet, say the economics, empowerment, economic empowerment to be shared or say more pen also way, you know, no more catasa, no more way in us. Do kind of more Gazakura history books are. They are there. They acknowledge the intelligence of the Africans. You know, so they all kind of fantastic. And they defeated arrogance, you know. They defeated easily. And we are sure almost everywhere. Who's out of my way. So now no matter can Egyptian. To look an Egyptian now it is among Africans. But the modern Egypt and the African Egypt. They are not. It's just like Ghana, the old Ghana and the present Ghana. Of course, in terms of color, they are the same. But in Egypt, the Arabs are better. The Can Egypt in Ghana is a bit still distant from many of us. But it's the Africans who came up with this. So thank you.
You see, that's it. Because we be a new animal who they be.
Wow.
Ubia,
That's right.
Yeah, what you may. Yeah, what you may. Because how can those Bukata or Mobua for a swatch said you can inventions be bro honum crana.
Yeah.
Even you African Americans no crown. Those times inventions be bro home, yeah. Those times some say head of department, it's Nipa or side department, no, the man, and so now we black people and those inventions, no. And so the head of department, no, because of Sani Manemo in and I also be super say me or chef for ma bibi awi biano or person as and papa. Bibi amedemo a walk around a example and we bibia me sana metisia saying 1 year cry. Almost saying wo kiki a trade almost started so mu yebino. Almost saying who is the best. Hey, the best. Because anything you veins, anything and none and none never in there. So first, don't know when you be there. Then you will. Yeah.
And then I have cocaine from make us say.
Oh yes. Yo, yeah, sure. You cast a lost talents. You study abroad. Now escape. You starting free hand. Western education crown. Hey, idea you my Africans ana.
Hey, over me. Now go for topic with me. I'm over. But Rebecca, Western education is for the Western part of the world. That's why I'm the Western at the anymore. And into the go for your Domako when you're away. This way, the forefront here said, you can come today. Since they can come today, make a one. The possibility catcher in India is pure Western. Or bow into Vanya. Say economics, say chemistry, say physics, say biology, sociology, political science, psychology. It's based on the Western culture. And to say the offer no matter is a bit. The offer no matter na ba nsuo na wo obehwehwem. Say minim no ma do do mutimi transuo. Nti say baby anyame bo wo no obi a the culture wo the yekuma obi on the philosophy obi on the history and heritage. And woman Penny Bako Kasembi or say there is no greater element, if you want, than the people knowing their history and their heritage. I'm from the Cicero, Cicero or something like that. He was a philosopher. He's an author. He lived around 100 BC. The PNO chess Adam. It's a Nippon heritage. When you know, can come be okay. So we all co university a car way chair. We are down Prohosa Cocorada. And we value the Western education because of the absence of this kind of education. Can come to my and in Ada because it's 70 years in India education be at the Mamamono. The chat I was a chacosi and it's a mobile media demo. Will be or need some more time will be. Just as anti tell the mamma. Now your mamma's anti tear way in a way. Now say same economy no crown just IMF in a bed. Hospital or just a more pay grant. Rules are more no cry. This is China and even a day anymore and I said Brunei even a day anymore. Almost every aspect of economy. Naturally, as education, I say a quantity more the buy, and for so many was. You'll see this. And is it relevant? The real results there, and I just want to say these questions more deeper than that. You see, when it comes to Africa, because Brunei bit more far, in fact, will be a bit more for Brunei every Australia, man, better in America, no sound in Ako. Brunei better a bit treating is away in full human being. Of course, why just about the same culture. We wait for Free Britain. I bet China, we wait for China, do America. No, so come back. They're the same culture, full respect. China, there no, maybe omu snake. The China need bit my befako kakra, but to acquire just of a panel money behind. Yeah, dear. Nim Bonnie, I do more, and almost in Bonnie over the nti ese bibia na obetimi dia ma obi a wonka won hwe no ye ne bamu a na ese de nani abre kakra nti won kan no kre na wo so de ka kire no on kan nyina nkire na mo se ho na mo te munim si a o mo si ni mo te Trump wa wo ye de sebe ne maame ya anwo no America so kono de do ya America ni kwase na wo mo a na madi ho be mfia face ahead e dey ntia se Trump ma me yetuntuma nkomo mpere kura ma na ni so to e bro ni to basom pepe o muni trouble crowd. And so Western education ayamaya me de minim die minim minti ya no ebi o ma ye ebi I don't know, but I won't appreciate it with some kind of pride. No. Again, say nipa no. Say me opinion ne kan no. What she said the most important thing I would date nipa ne so be hu. Na ba kosem. Ni ba bi free. Say no nka ho abibia bia hia bi. And more co school. That's the last thing they will tell you. Nipa ne mra no or your physicist, engineer, or your professor, political, whatever. But all the number ha. And normal what they be solutions or the be because we need some information when you see is the most important information. The other baby are no sabe. And then you who be you run here, you schools like I say, almost Ghana for more organizations like I say, but what the institution need man or no be done or ha. The same person, and normal what the baby we so no. Who say baby normal solutions not about what you say or many times what you say. Some of our best finance ministers, they school in some of our ministers, no, not even best. The people that we touted that they were very much, erudite, educated, scholarly. Some of the things they implemented will be on school them crying. This is as well that.
When you say caring to and cry, education minister.
You see
the record. Oh, Sacramento is a good record. And so I don't know the idea. A man who say idea, but me the man who send you identity call.
Okay.
Oko can ask him Sacramento say when you good it's just he was very good.
And even finance minister cried, they said.
Yeah.
And it's also more digitalization. The man go for the mobile money at 20 seconds. Yeah, no problem. They then are the support.
Ma'am, my name is Abakuna. Mima can come soon. Them can come with question. Emma, because we shema West no West no. Yeah, the ever fence former. You Ghana need to say formal education by the same thing, right? At the end, Emma, a worky or buy and worky or yeah. A near Mokusian, a dear Nema, a worky or moho. Now I'm working on the Africa in Yajuma because I mean, single person in Africa. So what could school or Abuchi no what back? I would think 10 be around. Am I? Almost try so much 10 no. Almost back no more try so much certain idea almost started so much chilling no. Create you free. Quite far quite be you free. That means the only economics as some say Adrian answer dear nema intimi because almost system na here June I don't hear this side in the bar and here June
my sister also the watcher will be it works in a certain domain, it works with a certain structure. What the actual world will become be so was say the SIRE or supporting infrastructure and anything what they buy here money. That's a system now more natural. Omo de omo si omo si omo no ma na chichire ye so msi omo yono di brone wo a ene wo so de agubukum na de ya ne se no wasa catch o say research no waye nti ono na ye no research ono krom ni nti wo so obi awi so obi ase na nkrofo otete omo no so asom sa ase ampa kwasi brone na ye wo doubt abra woni say say nipa no so msi wo mo nipa so mo so ba sa oba kwa wo ye so si wo sa processes no and one on the agubukumo and a time the bibi kakra ka home based on changes eba yeah oba wo CC no anase wo fa furokura CC no different anase opekura fa CC no aduan si akwasi brodi si no na aduan e de CC no aduan so mo akwasi brodi betima culture said these are the protocols so o person no aduan e so ye dey we follow na we are wa culture say we are seeing nipa nyina na ye dey use one yen is how what no culture no because something cultural hegemony what they are for we are seeing and to go easy so betima use because ne ho science and the chichire won ho and was the normal be black can boma betima am support am otima ye yeah how what turn the no design you and what it was about was be the same thing go You really said the or Sibe no Hano. Culture no, and yet the same. System now says it to a normal, and yet the same. Into a bar, it's not just what you know. It's not just what you know. As a matter of fact, every change that you see, there's a knowledge base, there is a character base, and there's an environmental base. They come to play. The three must work in symphony if you want. And just like now, the greatest among them is the system. And Sakura Naba individual choices. It will be the best in that environment. But this environment is different. In this environment, in our culture, what you say. The normal was a shisha crown man and boa, you just have about 10% probability that you succeed. And 10% means that you have already failed. And so if you put the system, and if you put maybe the environment or the system, and you put the individuals and what they know, and the individual character, how they do things, and you put the base, the knowledge, the know-how that they know, you probably will give the environment or the system about 60% of the results, what is responsible for the results. And then the way the people behave and work, just about maybe 30%. And then the know-how is about 10%. And to Uber timid, the audio body in Abba, you are just working with just about 10%. That's why you will not win. Because it's a whole different environment. And to say Pompey, I won't say they are the best educated. And best educated in what? In which environment? Into bar. So I'm sure the year you no one to be actually be over OBT. You are bound to fail. It's not a demon, not nothing, it's not Ghana, it's a different infrastructure. And that one is difficult for a lot of our people to appreciate. Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah, legend, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. On some okay, actually my dream is a question be so. On the I mostly about finance. Yeah, no. If it is true, Obia Ebia the exact same results, but Obia different results according to our capacity. Now, say you can say law of gravity, whatever they call it. But back Ghana, the impact might be slightly different from ABA space. So can we say that when it comes to education, maybe lost and but can we say that when it comes to education, can we say that the principles could be universal, but then application would differ by geographical location? And if that is the case, then it's me overcome boundary because Kwame Nkrumah bresu I think that na Kwame Nkrumah was an exception because Okusunya there were brochire there, but Ono by I believe he knew something that a lot of people who had learned outside no munim. Intina Kwame Nkrumah team succeed here, or team be a president, even in jail or prison, he still came back and became a president. So the application of it is
when you sue sister no you sue when you sue
yes.
Hey, and then you share big men no try so more Africa be now.
When you sue,
change
that's right. When you sue, another of a answer. The American education coming when you sue. Just that he went through that process, but the content he didn't use it.
Right.
When you sue. Because more and even the books are okay out in Senado and then go for entertainer. Go treasure books, So we don't know Casa Santitiano or General America as the institution I will call I think it's informally before we share more and we'll share Sadana. The African kind of education I will be timid and yet could draw a general and yet no being as a demand or school or call a link on wherever.
Yeah, so when him right away say it won't work.
Right. Yeah,
when him right away say it won't work.
Yeah,
it's
so that's right. So education as a principle, yes, but the content in that education, here. Yeah.
Wow. If I bet me up.
Yo, eti that's the say no say the easy can say the system na you use because say the can another question is say still you na have your kwakusi say ba na eba see eba bi sua de ni akọ because you fan say very good say the can obi oye bibi akama niama to suma no ne ade obi ono wa ma school ha o so person ne baba school ha no we share impact ben enya was because you who says uncle from club bibiri club ba na still mo papa mo adwuma ne de o family business kra ne do kra na etimi yi kakra
o mu guru
enya we so
I won't say possible no no the team upon say I mean of be obi catch us colonization is slavery twema o twam to maybe allowance kakra ben but say you Africa for no ma san be ye adwuma ma sa economies no na akonanim Africa na akofom ne de wo ho is the same principle whether it's human resources or natural resources it's a science it's whichever systems are almost set in place or whichever brainwashing processes are almost set in place say you be jatum say possible en chain and yansa wo me kona yedie wo sa no ma no de wo nti abrante no wo ho a sebe me ze se gware bebre aja to mo so mo boa mo nuama mo free akọ education wa America I mean it's a big thing and omo kwara omo nuama je so me so be kra and it's a sad one and omo kwara to me my examples oh China for nyina say de omo kwa America no mo ko ye no mo ko sua no mo san de aba I don't know but the China for we be omo nyina say ya I don't think so. We call abrochire kosuya percenti and amara omabe. Omo jiutum and I say antokoya bay. Omo catch say oh China is 5,000 years old, America is 300. So we are not in the same class. The same history that we are talking about. Mm-hmm. So even when you educate the Chinese in Yale or Harvard or Banachia, when he said there is a superior knowledge. And no nebet mina ninkofo yade akon. E yase obesu obidie. No, but won't see obedient for them and two dear in our own two and son of ranching.
Yep.
Yeah, no, the way I am for school. No, it's almost as if say, and son of your nippy. And I say, you'll be crying yet. The young tuning causes are more dear in your day. And she never be juma. And when you say, young animal, Moko approach school, you know, or more bar, or moon fat need to be a mine, yasana where they no. So what or status award need to be muddy anymore, that is what's for. Because na me the thesis me bisa bro ni say na professor we no me dey come kroma me dey go here bizarre was it well I don't know but why are you talking like you're the president
so why are you talking like what you are the president,
Wow. Because he said the mo kire no yin hian we kroma. And also they know. Obia we genu bia professor bio genu so e broni so e bibini. Wonim said the ochira ono ye kira wo sebe ya wo de be ye adwuma wo mu krom ho. So for be fi me can asisu say e yo mu krom ho na ye ntete ne de ma mo na mo de ye adwuma. That's the intention. Wo fa wo free ha wo say obe mount ntete a wo be ye adwuma te say de wo fa nkoa de free wo mu free ha. Wa fa nkoa no say wo mo kwa san ba wo. Enti wo free ha na wo kwa so be say about the evening. Especially we tuntuma evening kuma you bit ma ba na just when you higher form of knowledge at tin no ma be brave we so yes I want to ma don't say empanyi for be maybe empanyi for why oh I was having a very well paying job in America and I sacrificed to come to Ghana. You sacrifice you sacrifice. And so the training, why is he saying sacrifice? Because the training they gave him was not for Ghana. It's for that country. And over a trickle, a feed, a trickle. And yet, and it's not designed to say back, especially Africa at the end of the year. It's not like that. And anything that's any part of it, my bar will be when you're multinational, be when you're government position, be you say, I feel the same comfort in the bar. No one for Ghana, or back for no home. Do they have enough for? Even the also when you skaka krakra na person be a company bi wa hano. Obana bi bikitu e bi ko from twitch map eh ebufuo na obeye ne ensem be na hino. Utim se wa maso obeboa. So basa obey bibi for no ano honye mining. You know, but they loosely will say that oh yeah basa ye beboa. Basa obeboa de anasa so de ni da so a ada na bofu ye. Oba sebe so oja na wo sere so a. Obu akwara na.
No.
Because I should be what should be our so ye. Ti obi anu oba be paper ma wo. But one say o mo fa sa adwe ne ma. De ntia. Ntia na. Ntia na. Ntia eden. Min nuanum bi oh o mba kwara nsem mo kana. What him say ya tell it differently. Obi na no pedal we aho. Na say me ta we be break. Obi an be break the solutions anim. And almost solutions some of the American solutions. English solutions, Australian solutions, Canadian solutions. And no money back. And they don't even see say the nyansa bi we haba. Obeti me the tomato nsa. Na wa share the president mama share bi. But the solution on the Banyana about for you.
Tomadi exactly.
And son of African.
I say, because you will create TV toba. To be the toba.
Hey, yeah, what's your mom? I tell you, I said, many people control panels. Biso. Tim said, I won't tell you. So solutions no more fun. It's almost as if they will still have to channel the resources to feed that system.
Yeah, legend. Yeah, that's it. Say, I think say Nema ye in the olden days no crown no momo who cry fitter for no. They will still train you in such a way say you look down on yours. What should we say Nikola Tesla? Nikola Tesla in alternating current or no or more of the direct current aspect. Amafo bebre taka say Edison other guys no yeah, but if you want Nikola Tesla he was the brain behind a lot of things when it comes to electricity. But no Austrian like or the Austrian Empire at that time, so one way or the other no yet native ever hand me say they don't really recognize him, but Ushima Sakwa no ye nema bibiri pa eno ene the foundational elements it may be a lot of things when it comes to electricity. And again, quick question, ye wahanum say ye nipa bibiri science and math quiz for omu we are onye squares Ghanaian science and math quiz a contestant gets admission in be Harvard in an Ivy League school. Whole lot of time and I same time cry you could see my students EB as almost the falsified transcript and I hear them a best school where they bast them and they sound great yachini I send a record sinyaku pon bemuna se wanya kudra adi papa bi ewo nimu bia then because that me who the way I make the stigma that will come so how brilliant I was pa same way to me no senya miambe mo and now when you be our best psyche ne apa and untimi anything significant be our na brabo enti here legend nipa for sabibri abaha me ameka say meka ho I look at some of the complex things that I do, complex code that I write. And the funny thing is sometimes they will use these things as data products as a dachi be uni one will be bad. Or befa where you know I say be on dream embre. A lot of these science and maths guys teaching in big schools. Promotion a year no deserve. They didn't get it because they are people of color. Omanya. Obanechia enye ahano so a ontimi function. I know no so how can we intentionally meaning say at the kindergarten level Ghana? Because if you are waiting for the government legend, it's most likely that it wouldn't happen. It is say any IETA program. How will we intentionally, whether we will start our own schools or our own curriculum or homeschool our children, how will we intentionally do this and solve the problem at the grassroots level? Because they're trying to know the 18. Sometimes it's very hard to change their mind. I ban it to say me to Kaina or then obey to Kaya school. But all the 13 friend more for us now. it will be hard for you to convince him or her to travel into anything. How do we come together as citizens? I'm not even looking at the government because almost they also have their issues to deal with. It will never happen.
Okay. Me say who be before say as a school I know be technology boy. It's a book I know actually. As a matter of fact, so when your history no kra do to na o saka history no no kra ne say eno na tete nipa no eno na man nipa no fa hodie and even so kokra no your history na I tell you me makuku dra me history na start semester. That was it. And sakra the finance and business ne say no man problem. Me started semester, I mean entrepreneurship, business, finance in the third year, from third year. Proud to that, I was reading a lot of Christian books, motivation books, but technical information. Then I doing business on. I started some kind of in the third year, but we were in school, national service in Ghana, was still reading about a lot of these things. So it was the separation. Still, we doing some system near Bakope. Na information out here what the business or Ghana no maybe branch trace bit patch so to read no na they make eat the frog or something. All those books were reading them because you are looking for something, but no current says so when your foundation na some information no e be mo say worry kokko no ahodini kopem say wo benya foundation afi wo fa branch trace book wo be hu de here na say de here wo ema wo. But when who knows when you so entity awboa. And so schools now yanka say better. Na history now what see no because me na trick remember actually. The history, delving into the history. And yes say cause wunya mal no problem. But wunya it is the wusu no and one no. Into and it doesn't shake you, it doesn't shock you, you are not scared, you don't mind because of some information and because free information or the man when I will you the film.
Right.
And my because I just had the assembly so bad I can who didn't was and can you what God just say is all about who crawl say the way more so and it's that awareness in our opinion. How you start to accept yourself, identify yourself, become courageous, proud of where you are and where you come from. That is, that is the most important thing. And to say, so yeah, it is school. How do we get this information to them? Because maybe say na panel. To baby, mama bako or maybe a friend, or cinema or England. That's what the books need big man and man kind. Omo carry and omo go school. Nkran started to be some painful questions. Teacher no. O say den na mo tem bia mo yi bibia kire Africa na yepo. Akwa yo. And was started so no anka say history ni bebre omo da say YouTube. Unim the teacher dey ka tell na. O ka kire ma say o ba na ya be too aggressive. E dey na wo sua. Afi akwa me ko Ghana. Then necessary because information at the man in school no e man Ghana animtia na obi ase bi obu ba bi ofre animtia no obu no animtia in the first place nti basa na ye be second wo kra audience hoye because bi da bi akobi. So I think even before we can even stop them from going wherever they are say bit many as information way or any form because no pa no mo design here. So what kire wo se mo no mo nye nipa na se mo ye bibi kwa na mo to mo nkrofo wo se ye mo bebre ye nyini no how many of us kwa na twen se na ye na na mo kra trader let alone this complex mathematics ye mu do se ne hu ye a picture by trim nyina ye se na omo bodanta e no na bofo no mo to ajan e no wo de opa bisa any person. So you're software, so you're professor, so you're doctor. Because I say, oh, you know, would be 5-10 years. No, send I know again, father and I'm 200 years ago. Because if only I'm saying, oh, you say, and I Whereas all your studies, I can guarantee you, say 99% of our people still think like that. And it's money economy. And that time you can say, which is a shaky before the tree. How many are so for? And I said, what are they for baby? Shall we whatever go to podium class or preaching? It's about time, no suit, no cover. Because that is where the enlightenment is. And he said, quite cheap, I would say. Because it will mean the science, and then the mathematics, and then the chemistry, and then the physics. And you want to discover the foundation, and you want the Africans. But what they are catacatamin also. The employing for a physics master and as a physics professor. It's European physics that he knows. When it comes to mathematics, it's the same. Sociology is the same. Democracy is the same. Law is European law. And to one no what the best 70 years no go school. We say I don't know who could say quite now by authority. I had again say to me a mistake. But really said the addition say any mistake. And for authority you've been taught you have authority in mistake. And your professor for be pray. And Mudu do say that me anya kukudu say ye or see be African University. The can come today. I don't know what's it as foundation of mathematics. Because everywhere you go, we make me the for the account. But their philosophers won't country say or a foreigner. But young people are doing philosophy in Legon. They start with the Greeks. And when it comes to the Africans, they say it's folktale. Because we've been a chair, professor and a watcher of philosophy, no say no. And Sani Pano chair, no chair, they say no philosophy, no money bida. Mathematics is more than bida. Chemistry, physics is more than bida. And so the end of the year, so say now information or go for soon. Or you need excuse to be as a better than some movie. To quack one casacoshe can come the orchard or here. We shall be whom. No moon after we are not a channel. That's now you're professor, now you're dean, now you're president, now you're Venice chief justice. After where lawyer for you, yes, Umunya Regisha Montiasi. It's because the base is not there.
Yeah.
The history is not there, so they can relate. Lawyer Bia was your African history very deeply over the last 5,000, 10,000 years. Only problem class one just had enough. But we said the European DNA now European one child papa watch to Tumabia one child papa Mahomet Medini Suda. And you just say you know about the rule. The chere. Unya history now will be when your history be another year different. The casa is different. So it's going different. Kukudro different. The one who yan wojina ho kasa will be who is simple cra wojina ho kasa will be who is simple. Bit my hene. I did normal shisheni tia board normal to kasa who's away in history nusa. And na Africa na wo fa hu die African. What's that
na ye we cry in Myanmar said the okano o ma ku school kakra ne ade we say aye kan ye bi hwe bia me say bi hwe bia o ga say kwa from kwasi say bi obokika
ane ya obeka ane obedi attention here
kwasi say bi obokika o hodo it says they can relate to and but me sometimes you know me dream who say it's the question na say after all this now you call yourself so learned no it's the ekoswana because they will fight what you say never fight to cry you know
over baby say so when you fra obede ahu ade na yeka ho asem na ida ho adwena afra say metima kanisa adwena wu ya ne yaji tum se wo so akoye la bawo but really e ba no ho a wu na yese obi antimi enka nkere wo no mo didi suppose but wu because ye man se wo san kofo na adwen mu no ate a gahihye we are counting on expertise yentimi nyusu ya me yenka no kure Adentina wo see wo gold or oil. E wo na wo say wo dia. Wo your republic. Na wo gold and unya oil wo say unya oil mo betom. Na munya oil after 10 or 20 years still wo kope obu chef obi ho. Bo say no say na mo kope. Na wo catch them so ko economics and so ko international finance. Na obi ma wo loan. Na loan no no be 30% of the Cotolan cruises. O hina no heya ukokole bua. Nkora ne dafo. Na utimi yi first kan bi. Ekotokas. Tiri be ne ma. Na nkofo timi convince o na so gitum say am power educated. Enti wo no kwan na ekunipa be kumase nkra ne kumase. You see a year road. Which road is more important than that? Which road? Because road be anywhere I sell life since I road no. Now mutimi di scan mo ye fly over baby why. Not the major road from here to Boko. More expertise, more education in mutimi hui. It is a mounted to papa. The amount crop for a bomb crop for home by no ube chim watching ye. And it's not about habit you watching ye. Because one mini partner. The hands on done language of no raising. Okay, we need it here because we are baby abeko piano or money breno. Number one thing here, the safety of their people. The safety of their people. That is number one. They don't sacrifice it. Now, no car, your car, your comfort, any accident, near I better. Yes, I'm packing the Panagum road where any so. Now you see, I want to take free him. No. And distance, you better changing in no time. So long as you been young or many different kind of education, not this one that they are giving to us in Tech or Legon or Harvard or yeah. Because I know my way few for because one person won't kai or one kai be. Wouldn't him the better when you are not break. And that is, I'm telling you, the craziest thing I'm going to do. Titiana or Motiamasa group no lady. That group now, lady. I go for that. That's the most dangerous thing. Because the other can be able to say. The Cosibronia cancer, Cosibronin cancer, Ghana, or more Edoma Kuskuno. They are more British than the British themselves. Telling you. If bien no be kadisa possible need the necessity so just break them bronia ka say ya san o I don't know if you are going to get a new one, but the Americans have said be made for your seniors or more lawyers, doctors, politicians. So bronin ka say ya
yep.
And nothing na wo the business be ba wo ni onimia no mie na omie pronokrama but wo de ko pe broni bi no ni wani nye nipa ba ko na aka nya mie no nya miensa. Brony be Brony small boy be no new name so fab deal nimra. Catch na yes o call school no. One no betie no. Wo na wo ye wo nua no. Afa no be probu. E di entia. Entia ne nye. Enti so mbagia tomo so munyi ntomo. Isu so aso no de da so no. E da ho obi anim. Se masa ba bia mo na mo nye. Na nya mo fort entitia na e de ma mo na. Waso mo dodo. Entina obi a wo bo Africa bia no kwesi bro ni ntete no wato atwere ana obi sam mienu so long as wo dwen yenko abrofo wo yenko America president yenko bisa na dwen yenko Britain ko wonye hemai telling you because so wo mo no ye pe wo mo nya o ma dwen se ye benya fa hodira Ghana number 1 o mo target every time Ghana etibia o mo wo education nim ye bibia abofo ni de kire o yi trade countries of Africa mo follow pa Ghana you can't take it out because so many say ye ti o mo maka na ni beti you para o mo make sure say enko for na o say the Ghana dey penny bi agina ho o be caprofo kama o ba won tiri ye o be we brofo sa no ye the perfect international standard was how o wi ara o sa kopelon o kopel grant it will nim de na de cancer no manya ntumi fan wesi ga bi this all cost less ntete na e ka kire nse o wi ara kopel grant
last time crowd you met we dey about for function any solid idea but say any part is okay just what you say e microphone be cry so microphone no payroll so it is musu there it be kakra ka wo be ba ho what they had yes I reply so say how they had yes I go hard reply say you know
me I don't pay be am wadi on pay ma wadi be am
omo disruptive business ne kakra sa ya feel that a book na say won ye dia me on the tell say true dia me sa na tea
no I need to say you say we say what the evidence so 1957 to now almost 70 years you know maybe we have this and discussing it just no maybe be ho and ye and the na ye ba ko the normal entity ya adwe no school aye dey nkrofo iko nyina na wo wi a wotimi de ye bibi wotimi twema no e bi ade o ka say dey university for the person Dubai wo wotimi twema no so suppose that they can't think for themselves they just obi management yeah wo dey opa ko ya advance when you advance say university for better application abrewo. Over the last 4 days, my young group will be, and I'm still processing it. Bra, Miss Obey, my house, me JSS, my uncle be. Yamia Dometimia be water factory. My farm crab 20.
Oh.
Bako, Mrs. Me picture frame. I feed the meeting the $700,000 containers, Nedeba. Bako so also a fertilizer. I'm telling you, these are people who are telling me I didn't go to any school. We must send the videos, ni pictures.
The case study pa.
Intimate who am say. I don't know correct. The more now we go school and go for you are benefited. Because we must yeah,
because nipa say the invest omo ye de niam nkofo ye. What change mo?
Ane, what's my funny part 20? Me ye fertilizer. Me ye way. I'm telling you, omo nyina so man go school. You rest in any framework. I'm person me call master.
Yeah, share the last one. Let's say Ekoi the kankamu kan the also kan. Let's just say go for mo buya fa so pawo. Say ye ko na ye kosua de na ye ba. Ye ntimi fa nya hwe because ye ntimi ma system ne improve me patch tiefo. Woni mo bia na mu de fato enimai say we de obae no ukosua de bae wotimi change system wotimi change ni ama improve de one name pay fan to ni nhwa de eno nya yi at the same time sankrofo yi so omo na say escape and say investment because I remember say school time na me senior bia no ho no very good math my friend Fusi Jamus no very good oba Columbia University. And so buy frustration is an na anti later crown or sabatek in a demand by himself. A whole lot of things are my cresa at the back. You know, they be called tech near Dima finally quickly. This guy was was exceptional in man. Was exceptional. Bia unim bia just in the credit that's what ho. Nese sankrofoni na yelusom because of sa niama we. Nese ye koya na say by because sa they say no must start here nurses ne sa krofo an committee en ye de omokwe. Nese omo betimi aba no kra na omo ba che say enya de beboaye. Omo ma no so a ye mo nko ba bia.
As a matter of fact, enya omo nko go. Omo nko university wa hanyina the same problem. Na the university who come here just ako African University. The content maybe they say almost Sunday are fine. But the approach, the methodology, everything is above really. Okay, for instance, you have business. Your business now, business schools is your Lego and as a taker. They never know. Which propose and why visibility studies in our copy investor. Me no tia. Investor free. You must do say the Bama open investor free. We pass. So even solutions now more day ban. Just 1% or 0.1% of the people can access it. It's an educational it's based on the Nipani face you. People are more interested in what is globally accepted, international, and no panic here. Yeah, you know, the institutions in our way, you know, so that a global standard, global. One meaning who? Mingo Hono was in my uncle's school and I met me water factory. My friend Nipa 20, my cars, me sit down. But I could okay, the car $700,000, you know. Also, was saying a China for the Chromo bread containers 50. What can only marry a bush of one say one quabruchity from America. Will be some again. Let me round. So what me up but modern power prove who's saying? Now I dream your grand wasn't Kabushana catch a war. It over. Senipan millionaire or Hakrana. Still, it's a visa, no American visa, no more powerful than achievement here.